right, and we are live. Let me just ensure that we got this live stream going on right now. Let's make sure. Okay. Hey guys, gonna give everybody a couple of seconds to come in. Want to make sure that I can hear myself. So let me see something here. Okay, yep, we can hear myself. If you are here, smash that like button. Throw a comment in the chat. We're probably going to have less people today because I'm streaming a little bit later. And this is not as big of an event as others. We don't have as many people as a big lead up coming here like we have in the 100. 100 is premier event, just like 1500 is. So for different crowds. But anyway, we got the women's 200 meter semifinal. We got that on the screen. I'm going to give people enough time to come in. I'm going to give a little bit of my reactions right now because the people on the replay, they're going to be seeing this later. So the first heat, 0 wind. Nobody getting anything in either direction. So we're seeing Julian Alfred. Obviously, I think that was going to be an easy call there for anybody to see that she was going to do it. Favor Ofili from Nigeria. I think that she has a strong contention of getting a bronze medal, but it depends on how or even a silver, it depends on how the lanes are lined up. I've already said that Ofili has a lot going for her. She was obviously a 400 meter athlete before she started to compete for LSU. Then, of course, you know the coach, he produces 100 and 200 meter athletes, so they kind of transformed her. While her 100 isn't necessarily as good, her 200 being in between the 1 and the 4, that winded up being the one that flourished the most. So the coach, he knows what he's doing. And the coaches at LSU, they know what they're doing. And they produce 1 and 200 meter athletes. So she was a 400. Do not forget that she went to the World Championships back in 2019 for the 400, made the semifinal round. Okay. And then she's over here now competing at the Olympics in the 200. Let me see something here. Make sure everybody is here. Okay, we got some a very, very small crowd today, but we're going to go ahead and go forward. Because, I mean, and the sound that you guys are hearing are the fans, air conditioning, and everything. It's blazing hot in the 90s. And for some reason, my place is keeping that heat in. I'm sweating like a Hebrew slave right now, okay? Now, again, going over this, Julian Alfred basically didn't have to do too much, got out of the blocks. She did her work. She did what she needed to do. Favor Ofili did what she needed to do as well. Mackenzie Long had to make it on time. Let's go. We're going to see how the lanes go. Based on this time right here, she might actually get the inside lane instead of the outside in lane 8. She might get lane 2. We'll see there. Or lane 1, because they're using 1 through 8. Okay, Gabby Thomas. She gets out. She's a little bit behind Dina Asher-Smith. Their wind is basically almost nothing, a positive 0.2, so almost nothing. Almost the same as the first one. Here in Paris, it seems to be that the wind ain't really helping too much. It's either kind of, sort of negative most of the time or dead even. Now, the 100, for the men's 100, that was a positive 1.1. I mean, 1.0. Now, Dina Asher-Smith, she got out. She did what she needed to do. She's pretty much at her limit and at her top. I don't really see her getting a medal at all. But at least she didn't die out too hard. She ran her race more conservative. She did what she needed to do. She was trying. She got second, 22:31. Another sub 22. The only two people that we're seeing right now as a competition, the main competition, would be Julian Alfred and Gabby Thomas. But we got to think about Brittany Brown as an outside pick. I remember one person did say Brittany Brown as there. Now I can say it a little bit more confidently to see if there's a third wheel here. But Gabby Thomas, 21.86. She wasn't playing no games. She looked pretty good, very relaxed. She came out bouncing off the track as she always does when she's looking pretty good. Is she the favorite for gold? I believe she is. Now, going to the third heat. Now, we got Brittany Brown with the win, 22.12. She did it did what she needed to do, bare minimum, and she made it through to the next round. So I'm gonna say she probably has a more outside lane. I'll be surprised if she gets inside with this, with the win and the time that she got. Then we got Daryl Nita in second, and then Jessica. Don't know how to pronounce that name. Let's actually click this for a second. They got the name pronunciations here. Nope, they got it on the mobile version. If you go on the mobile app, they actually have the name pronunciations. I'm not going to pull it up on my phone right now. I'm in a live. If I was pre-recorded, I actually will pause the video, go look it up. But I'm going to guess it's Goodbye. So Jessica Goodbye from the Ivory Coast. She winded up making it through on time. Let's look at the lane assignments right now. Oh yeah, quick word for the other people that are looking at these, looking at the races. Looks like Keely Hodgkinson won the 800 meters. So now she's going down as the official Olympic champion. Mary Mora got third. And then we got our athlete. We got an athlete that was homeless. I really don't think it's worth it. I know Ray said he was living in an abandoned building or car or something like that, and he was kind of homeless on his way up training for the 100 and everything like that. I don't really think it's worth it to be homeless and doing it. Man, I was homeless. I was trying to get my ass back in gear in a car, and I'm like, look, I'm trying to make some money. If you're trying to make the Olympics and everything, I guess it's a once in a lifetime thing. World championships still could be once in a lifetime, because there's no guarantee that you will ever be healthy enough, fit enough, fast enough to make those, depending on your country. But I still don't think it is worth busting your ass being homeless and then doing that. But that's telling people, hey, look, you got plenty of time throughout the day. When somebody say, hey, I got too much weight on me or something like that, and you're not homeless, you got plenty of time, because these people are out here training. They're eating what they need to eat. They're doing what they need to do, and they're making a team. But there are plenty, countless people that are probably in their similar situations than Ray, and then the woman, I forget her name, from the islands, that get finished fourth in the 800, and she's over here talking about how she was homeless and scraped herself up. That's all cute and all, but no. What do you guys think about that one? No. Yeah, I know, sweating like a Hebrew slave. That's what we say over here. They say Brittany can't meddle with them horse legs sucking up all her energy. If I'm wrong, I'll take it. I've been waiting on her to prove it. Yeah. What's up, Daryl Richardson and Shanti? Let's go here. Now, here's the lane assignments. Oh yeah. Also, Faith Kipyegon has gotten disqualified in the women's 5,000. The rivalry between Ethiopia and Kenya, I would say, I guess it's the same as USA and Jamaica then. Because when it comes down, they frequently get into scuffles here and there. Every decade, there's somebody. This time, it was Sagai or Sagay. She was coming up there, and she was cutting in a little bit too soon on Faith Kipyegon. In that 5,000, she didn't like it, and eventually, she just, Faith put her hands on her, literally. She put her hand on her arm and pushed her away. She put her hand on Sagai and pushed her away. I was like, dang. Ethiopia and Jamaica is not too happy right now. I still remember when Haile Gebrselassie was punched in the back of the head, because the whole race, Haile Gebrselassie runs on the heels of people, and that's highly annoying. I could tell you from a distance runner. Somebody running on your heels and clipping you, that's kind of what they do to a thing, Mo. That's where she could potentially get tripped or trip other people, because the way her legs are not like how other people are. So there's constant clipping. And that's why our coach told her to run. And that's why I realized her coach told her to run slightly on the outside of lane, or in the middle or outside of lane number 1. Because these athletes, they're used to running against other ones. And then sometimes they do it on purpose. They just got a straight face. So therefore, you're not going to see it. But athletes that are, similarly height of each other, they run on each other's heels and stuff like that. In distance races, they try to do little jabs. They did that to Mo Farah. It's all types of stuff that they're doing and spitballing, whereas the rest of us are just seeing the race. They're over here, jab. Here's a little jab right here. Here's us being a little bit too close. Here's a little flinch that we're doing. It's all of those like a little boxing match. in the distance races. Now, getting back to no, was it Paul Tergat? No, it wasn't Paul Tergat that punched Hiley. It was somebody else. When Hiley was at a youth. Now let me get to the 200. Mackenzie Long in lane 2. Then we got Jessica Gabby of the Ivory Coast in lane 3. Dina Asher Smith in 4. Daryl Nita in 5. Brittany Brown in 6. Gabby Thomas in 7. Like I said, I think she's going more so for Gabrielle for this one. So Gabrielle Thomas in 7. Julian Alfred in 8. And Favor Ophelia in lane 9. Did she pick that lane? I'm actually... I wonder if she picked that lane over getting a lane 5. Because I would have sworn with the time that she ran in the semi and placed second, she had a better time than Nita. So she would have had a time to pick and a chance to pick this one. But no telling. Same thing with Dina Asher Smith in 4. So we're going to see this. We're going to see this. Lane 9 isn't the worst lane. Being like in lane 3 would be kind of tight. So let's look at this. Let me absorb this for a second. Gabby decided to be, because she would have had the ideal lane pick. I'm sure they let the athletes at this Olympics pick their lanes as they've done in the past. I would assume they would allow them to do that. So Gabby decided to be in lane 7. I'm not sure if they all know about each other's lanes while it's live or anything like that, or what order and whatnot. She could have said, hey, I'm going to let somebody else pick first, then I'll pick after. Who knows? But she's on the inside of Julian Alfred, and Alfred's in lane 8. This is going to be very interesting because instead of Alfred eating up Thomas, because that's just going to happen on the curve, she got ate up a little bit by Dina Asher Smith. So that's very interesting. Brittany Brown is also going to eat up on Gabby, I would think. But if this is the Gabby that we have seen the potential from, she actually can get out on people. In USA trials, Gabby can get out on people. It's not that she is incapable. Julian Alfred's just that much faster, so I would expect her to be leading up to about 120 if this is her running off the buzz of that 10-7. All right, if she runs off the buzz of that 10-7, Julian Alfred has this right here. How much does that affect her legs? Because Usain Bolt did say that his 100 did affect his 200 meters. He was like, yeah, I was real tired from that. That does affect people's legs after the rounds. Yeah, it's going over multiple days, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't affect the athletes. Now, with that being said, I still call this Gabby Thomas with the win, Julian Alfred second, and the only other logical thing here I can see, unless there is a surprise, it's going to be Brittany Brown with that there. Now, if Favor Ophelia and the coach is getting her time right, she actually can knock off Brittany Brown. Because that personal best, it's not that they're all going to run that personal best. But something is telling me third place is going to be like a 21-8 mid. That's what's telling me right now. And if you need a 21-8 here, it's going to depend on who hits a personal best right now. Brittany Brown has the experience from being already a medalist there, right? But do you really trust that she may hit a new personal best here? Because I think it's going to take a personal best for whoever gets third place. It's going to depend on the wind. It's going to depend on the rain. But if everything being even and they all bust their butts to get in that final and then they run around that track, it's going to be Gabby Thomas. I don't know the time here. That one's going to be a hard one for me to call. So it's funny when I say I don't know the time, they wind up just doing something slightly slower than what other people are expecting. So whatever you guys are expecting for the time, make that a little bit slower, and there you go. So Gabby Thomas with the win, Alfred in second. How close do I think it's going to be? And what scenario do I think that Alfred can win? If Gabby Thomas has a bad start like she did at that Continental Tour race, it's over. It's over. I believe that her coach has her peaked well. Julia Alfred has her peaked well at the championships. This is her chance to be a double Olympic gold medalist. I believe it's going to go gold, silver for Alfred, and then Thomas with the win. But if there's any surprises here, I just can't see it. I can't see anybody else getting the gold. I really can't. I can't see Ophelia, Brittany Brown, not seriously, not in any serious circumstance, any serious analysis. Yeah, you could say dark horse pick, Brittany Brown, Ophelia, or something like that, but not really. They just Thomas is just too much better than the rest of the field, that even if she were to lose against anybody else, it's Alfred, because Alfred's just that much faster. But depending on how slow that would be, I could see somebody else, but not really in any serious analysis. I can't. Let me see. I'm rooting for Mackenzie to run the race of her life for a medal. Right, I know. Mackenzie Long. I'm getting there. You think Favor Ophelia's getting a silver? The best lanes are the outside. Yeah. I remember everyone hyping Abby Steiner. I knew she wouldn't be here. Look, I was telling before in years past, I was like, yeah, Abby Steiner ain't the one. No. Abby Steiner has gotten a little bit because she's white. We got to be honest here, because even World Athletics was putting her time, saying it's the best time of the year, when Favor Ophelia ran faster than her. And then they were just ignoring it, saying best time of the world this year. And it's like, no, this was done way before y'all even made this post. It's not like the time the events were running at the same time. Yeah, we know that. We pointed that out. I'm not afraid to talk about things that maybe other people are afraid to, and they just say, they dance around topics. We're in a system of white supremacy, so therefore it's going to be a lot of those things built in. All right, those things are going to be built in, and she got a little bit more hype because she's white. And it could just be because she's different, and different in this case is white. You're not normally seeing that, so therefore that's going to be there. Because if it's just a whole bunch of white people and then there's a black person, there's going to be attention given because that person is black and the rest of them are not. So it can work both ways, but in this case, she was given attention. She was white. She has a lot of potential. She's very quick. She's very fast. That's not to take away from that. But the hypingness, I would believe it came from that, not because of her actual times. All right? Not because of her actual times. If Steiner, I think she has a unique form. I think it's very funny looking, just like many people said with Michael Johnson. But I wouldn't say it's horrible. I see somebody say she got horrible form. She got funny looking form, different form. I wouldn't say it's horrible. Very, very unique. Now, the problem with Abby Steiner is that she keeps suffering from injuries, but that's like with a lot of the athletes. That's a lot of the athletes. And I'm glad, no, I don't think she would do damage if she was there, because she was there at the World Championships a few years ago, and she didn't do any damage. Remember how I said it was either Clark or had her number, and she winded up finishing ahead of her. Neither one of them got a medal, but she winded up finishing ahead of her. I keep getting Clark and what's her name mixed up. Y'all know, if y'all listen to my videos consistently, you know who I'm talking about. Now, with this being said, let me get something here on the injury. Now, I noticed that the other day I was saying that, you know, some of the athletes, if you're not giving people another, since you guys are here this far in the video, and whoever's here listening on the post recording, give me your thoughts on this. I saw another person on there. I think it was Maverick, because I know a lot of you guys listen to Maverick over there. And he was talking about the injury. And I really don't listen to people's channels like that. But I decided to click this one because he talked about lies and deceit and injury. And I said, dang, did he freaking read my mind? Because I was going to talk about something similar to this. And I was like, now I don't want to do the video because he already did it. Now it's going to seem like I'm copying him. But I'm going to address something he said. He was talking about how the Jamaican team is over here lying about injuries and lying about problems, about some of those things. And And I'm like, is that really fair to say that somebody's lying about injuries for their own personal financial gain? But that's kind of like what I said, though, because if you only got the big three, Shelly Ann, Sharika, and Elaine, and they're blocking everybody else out, by the time they go, and they all could be gone at the same time. I literally said this in 2021. I said this in 2021. I said it again in 2022. And then I was like, there's no telling that they all just wouldn't go out at the same time. Literally like that. I'm going to pull that up on an old video. Just like that. It came here. And then it's like, when you take all of that experience away, and there's not a transition area where you're now pushing that to the other younger athletes, you're going to have a hole that's going to look like the men's side. Right? When you have a hole that looks like the men's side, and Maverick was talking about, hey, this is for personal financial gain, and that's a little bit selfish that they're not telling people that they're injured. And the way I look at it is, Trayvon Bromell didn't say it, other athletes, but he's talking about specifically Jamaica, and I understand why. Because it's like, hey, here's a lot of pride here. Here's a lot of what we're trying to do. We got a mission that we're trying to accomplish. So what do you guys think about that? Because I'm like, yeah, that is kind of bogus. And I was thinking about that too. I'm like, yeah, Sharika knew about this injury beforehand. Like I told y'all, they knew about this beforehand, because you can't make a last minute change to the 100-meter roster like that. They have to have only the, 32 athletes or something like that in there. So that means they have to have already submitted it. Because if that was the case, then they could have just put the shot putter for Team Jamaica in there. That means they knew, they told the Olympic team already, hey, Sharika's not doing the 100, but we're going to keep it close to wraps right now. Right? We're not doing the 100. And she probably knew at the time, they were, maybe I'll give them benefit of the doubt. She's hoping that she could still compete in the 200. I'll give her benefit of the doubt. Coach over there, he was not giving benefit of the doubt. He was like, look, y'all lying. Y'all shouldn't have been doing this. You should have pulled out. You're doing it for your sponsors. You're doing it for personal financial gain. And you hyping everybody up over here. We're thinking we're going to have a good team to represent us. And then they didn't, and they pulled out. I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt and say Sharika and her team was probably hoping that she could still compete. But by the way she pulled out, and I told y'all the other day, she'll be lucky and she'll be fortunate enough to get a medal. It turns out I was correct when it turns out she just pulled out completely. It's like, man. They said, let me see. But Brianna Williams never stepped up. Daryl Richardson said. Well, I mean, you had Kimber Nelson that was kind of close. Brianna Williams right now is going through a transition period. So it's kind of like Dina Asher-Smith. Asher-Smith and Williams right now, they finna look like a moth, or you're coming out of the cocoon, you're the caterpillar, you're going through all of the shedding period, you're going to look a little bit ugly, rough around the edges. Next year, we should start to see something. And then obviously with Williams, she got more of a runway than Asher Smith has, being younger than her, of course. So we going to see that. But yeah, Williams didn't shape up. After Otto kind of was like, dropped the bag on her and was like, yo, you need to go to somebody else. Williams has kind of been scrambling, and she was able to hold on the last season based on you know, the coach that she was suggested, but then she didn't like her results. She's like, look, I'm just making alternates, and I'm not even making a final alternate. Nelson is beating me for this. She's being able to do the final rounds. Forbes and everybody else. So yeah, I could be on the relay team in the prelims and everything, or the first round, but I'm not making it. So I think she was like, look, I need to change coaches while I still got a chance. I'm still in my prime. I need to get something down. And in all honesty, I don't know if she could have done it. I don't know if she would have wanted to do it. You know, stay, you know, train in Jamaica and everything like that. Being as that she grew up in the U.S. She was in Jamaica for a little while, but being that she was growing up in the U.S. But I would have thought Coach Francis, she was young enough to do that. He doesn't typically like, quote, superstars, but that would have been a better fit. Or, you know, going to where Shakira's group is, if they would have let her in. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. I don't know the politics behind that. and how everybody is with their coaches and everything. But those two would have been fits. I think even a better fit than that was be Noah Lyles' coach. Noah Lyles' coach would have been an even better fit because that's obviously a training regimen and routine that works on people's starts. And Brianna Williams already got a good start. It's just not consistent. That's the thing. Not consistent whatsoever. And then she crashes out at the end. That would have been the thing. Now, let me see this. It said, I love Tamari Davis. I hope she improves. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Davis doing something. They said, same here, that lean back style and his legs turn over very fast. Let me see something. This is Julian and Gabby's race to lose. Yep. Michael Johnson. Oh, yeah, you said you used to love Michael Johnson run. It was unique, but he could fly. Yeah, exactly. T. Smith said, I was disappointed with Sha'Carri's race, but not surprised. I figured she had so many commercials and distractions. She didn't train enough this year. Nah, that's not it. That's not it. No, that's not it. That definitely wouldn't be the thing that got her. It literally was in the warm-up area. But the same thing. You know, Shelly Ann has been training and running through injuries for years. This is why I'm not really too soft too much, because people ain't being soft even here. There goes Sha'Carri. There's a slight diss right there by T. Smith. A slight diss right there saying, oh yeah, I'm not really too surprised. She been doing commercials. It's like all of them are doing commercials. Why wouldn't they? Track and field is not their whole life. It's part of their life, but it's not their whole life. Why should they not enjoy where they're at? Because that's what the coach was saying. I will say that Maverick was over there saying, hey, look, they doing this personal financial gain. And he was criticizing that. But on the one hand, it's like, why not? Did anybody else beat these injured athletes? If Shelly Ann is injured, did anybody beat her? Nope. If Sharika was injured, did anybody beat her there? Nope, they didn't. So they earned their spot. But on the other hand, it's like, hey, you've been here for so long. Give somebody else a chance to get some experience. So therefore, we got a program that we're developing. That's on the one hand. On the one hand, you're looking from a coach and a nation aspect. And on the other hand, you're looking from an individual aspect. This is why I said if track and field moves to more of a team thing, this would be fantastic, because then you do get those transitions. You do get the mentorship. You do get all of that that's built in. But I don't, on the one hand, I could criticize, but on the other hand, I'm like, hey, somebody else got to step up. Somebody else just has to step up, quite frankly. It says Sha'Carri had a horrible reaction to the start, and even with that, she came from last to win a silver. Yes. She was out there, left in the blocks, came up, and then she got a silver medal. It may not have been the best race that she had, but that's a good silver medal, just like we see a Kashane with the silver. Hey, another thing is, hey, how come every time Jamaica doesn't get a gold when it's a virtual tie and it's got to be split down to the thousands? How come it's always a stolen medal? But when Veronica Campbell-Brown got that with that virtual tie, that nobody said anything about, hey, no, the American, she should have got, she was stolen, or both of them should win. How come it's Merlene Ottey got a win stolen from her, and Kashane Thompson got a win stolen from him when it's, you know, the Americans that won, but it's not the other way around? Do I sense some haterism here? Do I sense somebody just not liking somebody because of the nation that they're at? Do I sense somebody's a sore loser? Is that where we're at now? I just wanted to point that one out, because I still remember, and even people in the comment section, they were like, hey, you know, hey, Merlene Ottey was stolen that race against Devers. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That is the thing. Every time it's a Jamaican that ties up and they lose by thousandths of a second, they say it's stolen. But then when somebody else, you know, Veronica Campbell-Brown has won, and she had a virtual tie, went down to the thousands, they didn't say that was stolen. I'm just pointing it out. So just keep that same energy. If it's stolen one way, then that means Veronica Campbell-Brown stole that gold. But anyway, let's go here. No, Merlene Ottey was not stolen. What's fair is fair. No, what's fair is fair. Track goes down to the thousandths of a second. Same thing with swimming. And sometimes it gets that heated and that close, and the goal goes to somebody, and you just expected it to be somebody else. It happens. Kristen Coleman lost to the same situation in the indoor 60-meter championships in 2022 to Jacobs. That came down to the thousands. Kristen Coleman lost. That's some sore ass loser talk. Somebody just can't take an L. And that just gives kind of weird energy. That means, like, when people think about this, the stock value also. Remember, the Olympics, people are paying attention to how people are talking. And this is something here, because y'all know I talk business. People are paying attention to how people are talking. And investment money starts to flow. If this is how people react, think about this, because regular people and business people are watching these. If this is how people are reacting to when they're not getting the absolute win and domination, imagine how people are looking at you and your nation and doing business with you going forward. That does affect a little bit because people talk. That does affect what people are doing a little bit. Just like how people are saying, hey, the U.S. is arrogant and stuff like that, and they still want to come over and they're flying over, boating over, all of this stuff to get into the United States, but then trash talking the whole way there. People are coming there to do business because they know that when the United States does business with people, it still is good business when people do business with you. But then in other way around, people are looking at you kind of funny when you like, man, you can't take a L? That kind of affects people. And then, yeah, I talked about Faith Kipyegon being disqualified. Man, I think that shouldn't have been a disqualification. She got cut in. She got a little frustrated. She put the hands on her. So, hey, it is what it is. Let me see. Dealt with. Okay, wait a minute. You said Jamaicans always say that. Yes, so are losers. I do see Ophelia potentially getting that win over Brittany Brown as far as a medal. You said dealt with him all my life. Miserable. Maisha Ford said. Okay, Kevin Brown said they blocked Shelly Ann from the bus. They did the same to Parchment, and he got help and beat Holloway. Okay. Well, I mean, Richardson got blocked from the bus, and she got a silver. Shelly Ann didn't show up. You know, that it just happens here. It happens. You know, when unfortunate events like these happen at the Olympics and World Championships, you notice they happen more at the Olympics. The World Championships don't have as much drama around them than the Olympics. This is starting to tell me something. This is why I'm just like, look, track and field needs to separate itself from the Olympics. It ain't that big a deal. Like, it is, but it's not. Like, it should just be like, hey, this is something you participate in. You really want to get it, but it's not going to be the biggest, baddest thing no more. And even the rest of the world is starting to feel like that with the way these bills are, and you leave in the bag the cost to the city, and the local people got to deal with that. They're like, nah, we ain't trying to deal with this no more. It says Sergey is a crybaby. Man, Sergey always be having that crybaby face, but that's just kind of her face. There, I think I might do another on that. They said, why the heck do they disqualify her? Because she put her hands on her. That's why. It's part of the rules. But anyway, let me go over here and take one more good look here, and then we're gonna go long. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Gabby gets the win. Alfred in second. It's gonna. I'm gonna. It can go to either Brittany Brown or Ophelia, but I'm gonna give it to. I got actually more faith in Ophelia. If it comes down to what I said, a 21-8 for the bronze, then I'm giving that to favor Ophelia. If it's not a 21-8, I say Brittany Brown. But because I'm trusting that if it came down to a personal best between the two of them, I'm looking at Ophelia. But a lot of that action is there. Hopefully, I would say if this does go this way, I kind of got a bias with Ophelia, but I would say hopefully she wouldn't get spooked because of Alfred getting out on the blocks on her. And she should just know, stay in your lane, run your own race. Stay in your lane, run your own race. Because if she doesn't stay in her lane and run her own race, she'll let herself get dragged up, start messing up, doing things, trying to run instead of trying to sprint. She's going to run instead of sprint, and then her race is essentially over. Gabby Thomas is always getting her ass got out on, so she's like, hey, I'm used to it. Favor of Philly, on the other hand, in the 200, maybe not necessarily, and maybe not by somebody like an Alfred. This gives Gabby Thomas a perfect target to go after. If Brittany Brown gets a little bit on her, that drags her through. And Noah Lyles, let me say this too. Noah Lyles said exactly what I said. He said that, remember how I said his placement next to Seville and Tobago was good? He said it himself. He was like, that gives him a target to go after. He was glad that he was right there because that gave him somebody that's close enough in his ability. They're both similar in ability and right next to each other instead of another lane over, that he was able to use him as a target and use that as a slingshot to go forward. That's what happens when people are with similar abilities next to each other. This would have been probably a different result if Kashane and Lyle's lanes were different. But being as it is, that's the result. So Favor of Philly, same thing. If she's able to stay relaxed in her lane, she's gonna be pretty damn good and hard to beat. You said Gabby gonna freeze up? Nah. I don't think so. I can't see Gabby freezing up on this one. She's got a taste of a medal already. She's not gonna freeze up here. Nah, I can't see that happening. If Gabby Thomas brings her A game, it ain't nobody that's gonna be able to stop her in the field. And even a healthy Shericka Jackson, that would have been a very big highlight race to watch. Healthy Shericka Jackson still, I would say, wins most of the time. With Gabby Thomas is an example of a strength runner through and through. Her 100 ain't nothing to brag about as far as the elite level. Shericka Jackson, her 100's way faster just for her to be a few tenths faster. Now, a few tenths is a lot. Alfred, much faster, and yet her 200 not yet is faster than Gabby or even at the same level. So she's coming in from the speed perspective. She's going to need a new personal best, and she's hopefully for her in personal best shape. Because if she ain't coming, like I said, I don't want to put a time, but let's say it like this. The equivalent to 21.6 shape right now. We're going to need something like that to win. If it's a slower race, that's probably because it rained or the wind or something like that. But even with the wind against them, if they coming out there blazing, they can still run a good time. But they got to be in 21.6 shape in order to beat Gabby Thomas. I think Gabby Thomas is definitely in that 21.6, 21.5 territory right freaking now. It's going to be hard to touch her. It's going to be hard to touch her right now. Yeah, she ran at 21.78 before. I see her dipping under that in a very good scenario. Especially if Julian Alfred gets out and she got a good slingshot. This might come to the wire. I say it comes to about the last 20 to 30 meters. But I don't see it going to the line. I see it coming to the last 20, 30 meters. And they might go to the line where she's got to be trying. But we're going to see the clear winner 20, 30 meters out from the line. That's where we're going to see it. That's all I got for today. Yep, she got good speed endurance. I agree. That's all I got for today. I'll catch you all on the next one. I've been your host, Nick. And this has been Head and Shoulders ATR, where we cover athletes' performances and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And don't forget to like, comment, and share, and subscribe. Don't forget to join our membership on the channel. I forget what the pricing is, but join the membership. We're going to still be talking about business-related things. We got some more things to cover